I study the brain, and my ultimate goal is to understand how consciousness arises from the billions of neurons activities in the brain. And the hallmark of consciousness is qualia, the sensory qualities that accompany our conscious experience. So you see red, green, blue, and these colors are qualia, and they represent certain results of computation within the neural network, and there's this color constancy mechanism, so that the color perception in one particular area of the visual field depends actually on the relationship between this area and other surrounding areas. So that is a color constancy mechanism. So based on that really complex computation process, you have this color perception. So each of these colors, they are so unique, and physically speaking, they are related to certain wavelengths of the visual light. However, you cannot really say that from your own inspection of your conscious experience that these would be the wavelengths. I mean, we can make correspondence between these qualia and certain wavelengths, but you cannot say that color qualia are wavelengths. So it's quite different. I mean, from your subjective point of view, color qualia have their own identities, and from your intuitively, you don't feel that these are wavelengths. Some numerical measures in one dimension. These have really unique identities, and so that is qualia. And so that is the enigma of consciousness. However, some people ask, I have experienced it so many times, and some people, ask, what is the definition of a quail? What is the definition of qualia? And these people, I think, are sometimes lazy, because it's absurd to ask for the definition of qualia, because no matter how you explain the concept to these people would never be convinced, because what they lack is metacognition. What they lack is not some knowledge or some logical reasoning. What they lack is really precious metacognition of their own phenomenal state in their conscious experience. So no matter how you explain the definition of qualia to these people, they would never be satisfied, and they tend to be lazy, really lazy people. It's one of the difficulties of consciousness studies, that people cannot really arrive at a common intuition or understanding of phenomenal properties like qualia through argument, because no matter how you argue, if you have a different understanding of what it means to be conscious, you can never come to an agreement. Look at the discussions, for example, between David Chalmers and Daniel Dennett. I think the metacognition of Daniel Dennett is probably different from David Chalmers and mine. So no matter how much you argue about qualia with these people, you can never come to an agreement, because it is something about each one's metacognitive state that apparently, ultimately account for the different understanding of what qualia are. But as far as I am concerned, and I hope as far as you are concerned, these are qualia. And that is good. There's nothing else to it. And it is really wonderful holy grail of neuroscience and science in general, to understand how these qualia arise from the activities of billions of neurons in the brain. And that is a really wonderful enigma, and that is a really wonderful intellectual challenge to understand how these creatures arise in our consciousness.